Hey everyone, and welcome. Today we are going to crack the code of the English language. And you might be thinking, grammar? Really? But trust me, understanding these fundamental building blocks is about so much more than just passing a test. It's about making your writing clearer, your speaking way more powerful, and your ideas totally unforgettable. So, let's get into it.
Have you ever really just stopped and thought about that? How do all these random, individual words we use every day manage to link up and actually create meaning? It's kind of like a giant puzzle, right? And today, we're going to show you how all the pieces fit together.
And the answer, believe it or not, is this simple number: 8. Yep, that's it. Every single word in the English language, no matter how simple or how complex, falls into just one of 8 categories. These are the fundamental building blocks of everything we say and write.
So, let's start with our first group, naming things. To build any sentence, you have to be talking about something or someone, right? You need a subject, and that is the job of nouns and pronouns. First up, we've got the noun. This is the one most of us probably remember from school. It's super simple. It just gives a name to a person, a place, a thing, or even an abstract idea. So, words like teacher, school, book, or even a feeling like happiness, yep, those are all nouns.
Okay, but repeating nouns all the time can make our sentences sound, well, pretty clunky. For example, what if I said, Sarah went to the store because Sarah needed milk? It just sounds awkward. And that's exactly where the pronoun comes in. It's this fantastic little shortcut that stands in for a noun so we don't have to keep repeating ourselves.
And here is a perfect example of that. Instead of saying Sarah again, we just swap in she. It's so much cleaner, it's faster, and it just makes the language flow so much better. Words like he, she, it, and they are the absolute essential stand-ins for our nouns.
Okay, so we've got our subjects, our nouns, and our pronouns. But right now, they're just kind of sitting there, not doing anything. We need to give them some life, some personality. So let's move on to our next group and see how this builds. The words for actions and descriptions.
The verb. This is the engine of the sentence. Verbs are our action words, run, eat, study. But, and this is super important, they also show a state of being. Words like is, am, and are also verbs. They might not be exciting, high-speed actions, but you absolutely cannot have a complete sentence without a verb. It's impossible.
All right, now let's tackle a classic point of confusion: adjectives versus adverbs. This is one that trips a lot of people up. They both add detail, which is awesome, but they have very different jobs. An adjective describes a noun, while an adverb describes a verb, an adjective, or even another adverb. Let's look at a really clear example.
Okay, let's break this down. In that first sentence, she has a beautiful dress. What is beautiful? The dress. And since dress is a noun, beautiful has to be an adjective. Easy enough. Now look at the second one. He runs quickly. How does he run? He runs quickly. Since runs is a verb, an action, quickly is our adverb. So see the difference? One describes the thing, the other describes the action. That's the key.
So we have our subjects, our actions, and our descriptions. But how do we link them all together to make more complex ideas? Well, we need some linguistic glue. And that brings us to our third category: the words that connect all the different pieces.
First up is the preposition. Now, these are small, but they are incredibly powerful words. They show relationships, usually about location or time. Think about it. A book can be on the table, under the table, or beside the table. Each one of those little prepositions totally changes the meaning of the sentence.
And next up, we have conjunctions. If prepositions show relationships, then you can think of conjunctions as the bridges of the English language. They connect individual words, like tea and coffee, or they can link entire sentences together to build much bigger, more interesting thoughts.
And right here, you can see them working together in perfect harmony. On is our preposition, telling us where the book is, and but is our conjunction, connecting two totally separate ideas, the location of the book and the fact that she kept on studying. This is how we start building really sophisticated sentences.
We are almost there. We've got our subjects, our actions, our descriptions, and our connectors. So, what could possibly be left? The spice, the personality. Our final category is all about adding a little burst of feeling.
And that brings us to the interjection. These are short, super expressive words that often just stand on their own, totally separate from the sentence's main grammar. They're just bursts of emotion. Wow, oh, ouch. They're pure feeling.
So notice here how wow just stands apart from everything else, usually followed by an exclamation mark. It isn't grammatically connected to the other words. It's basically an interruption that injects pure, raw emotion right into the statement.
And there you have it. All 8 building blocks, that's the whole shebang. So let's do a super quick recap of everything we've just covered, and then we're going to put our new knowledge to the test. It is time to put it all together.
So this table is a fantastic summary. We've got our naming words, noun and pronoun. We've got our action and description words, the verb, adjective, and adverb. Then we've got our connectors, the preposition and conjunction, and finally, that little splash of emotional flair from the interjection.
All right, time for a little practice run. Let's look at this sentence together. The small cat runs quickly. First, what's the thing we're talking about here? The cat. Boom, that's our noun. Okay, what word describes the cat? Small, that's our adjective. What's the cat doing? It runs. There's our verb. And how does it run? Quickly. And since that describes the action, it's our adverb. See? It all fits together like a perfect puzzle.
You know, understanding these 8 building blocks is truly the first step to mastering the language. So now it is your turn. Take a look at this final sentence on your screen. See if you can identify every single part of speech we've talked about today. The more you practice, the more you'll realize that grammar isn't just some boring set of rules. It's the blueprint for how we share our ideas with the world. Thanks for watching.